Mindful eating. Sounds a little woo-woo, right? But hear me out. What I'm about to share with you is not only backed in solid science, it can also be a game changer for anyone with a digestive system or anybody who needs nutrients. So, spoiler alert, that's everybody. Now, one of the most common complaints that I hear from functional medicine clients is digestive complaints, right? Whether it's heartburn or like food intolerances from gluten or dairy or eggs, or it's constipation or it's bloating. And I always take the same approach when starting with this whole process, and that is a north to south approach. In other words, if you want to understand what's going on with the gastrointestinal system, you have to start at the beginning, right? In other words, the north. Take a look at what's going on in the north at the beginning, and then start looking at the processes that happened going south. And the reason that is because digestion is a series of cascading events that one process is dependent on the processes that preceded it. So for example, if someone's having abdominal pain and bloating, rather than starting at the lower intestines with something like probiotics, we should look at the impact of what's going further north. So if we start further north, the sight and smell of food stimulates saliva. Saliva helps break down carbohydrates. Chewing helps stimulate saliva as well, but chewing also stimulates gastric acid to be released by the stomach. And that stomach acid helps to kill microbes, it helps to break down protein, and it helps to absorb certain nutrients like B12 and calcium and iron. Then that stomach acid then stimulates the pancreas to kick in and produce pancreatic enzymes to break down food and for the pancreas to release insulin to help with glucose metabolism. Then when fats enter the small intestine, cholecystokinin is released by the small intestine, and that stimulates the gallbladder to release bile salts to break down fats. And on we go from north to south. However, there's one part I left out intentionally because it's the one thing that most people don't think of, and that's the most important step, and it's also furthest to the north, and it's the brain. The brain is crucial for proper digestion, and it's the one that we have the most control over. So to fully understand this, we should take a very quick look at the nervous system. And we can broadly divide the nervous system into the somatic nervous system, or what some call the voluntary nervous system, like if you want to move your arm or your leg. And then we have the autonomic nervous system, which is the part of the nervous system that we can't control. So for example, we can't control our pupillary dilation, we can't control our heart rate, we can't control our blood pressure, we can't control the motility in our gastrointestinal system. And the autonomic nervous system is then subdivided into the sympathetic nervous system, often referred to as the flight or fight system. And this is because this is the part of the nervous system that fires up when we're stressed or excited or threatened. And then there's the parasympathetic nervous system, which is often referred to as the rest and relax system, which kicks in when we're, well, relaxed and resting. And finally, there's the enteric nervous system, which governs the gastrointestinal system, and it's often referred to as the second brain. Now, the enteric nervous system is considered a distinct part of the autonomic nervous system because it can operate independently of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. However, the enteric nervous system doesn't act in complete isolation. So, for example, if you're threatened or you're excited or you're stressed, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in, right? And it diverts all your blood to your heart and your muscles and your lungs so that you can fight or run away or something like that, right? But it also has an input to the enteric nervous system because it's going to slow down the gastric motility and it's going to slow down gastric secretions, right? As opposed to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and relax nervous system, and it's going to stimulate more secretions in the gut and stimulate more motility in the gut and blood flow to the gut. Now, this next part is the most important part I want you to remember, and so I took the research published in this paper. Now, this review study outlines all the research that backs up what I'm about to say, so I suggest you read the paper if you're interested, but this is how the process works. So if you look here at stress or distracted eating, it increases activity in the sympathetic nervous system, and it decreases activity in the parasympathetic nervous system and the enteric nervous system. So this results in decreased motility, decreased blood flow to the gastrointestinal system, decreased nutrient absorption, increased inflammation, decreased serotonin production in the gut, and yes, your gut makes a lot of serotonin, Doesn't cross the brain though, but it still makes a lot of serotonin. Increased intestinal permeability and decreased gastric acid secretion in the stomach, which overall means that it blocks proper digestion. And that's what this little line at the bottom of the long line shows, that it's blocking proper digestion. Conversely, mindful eating blocks stress and it increases digestion by reversing all of those negative things that stress or distracted eating causes. So what the heck is mindful eating anyway? Well, it's about mostly being present. It's about engaging your senses, right? And minimizing distractions, such as eating in front of the TV, eating while driving, scrolling on your phone while you're eating, trying to get work done while you're eating. In those situations, you're certainly not engaging the senses. You're not stimulating the sense of taste. You're not stimulating the sense of smell. You're not appreciating the food. You're not appreciating the texture of the food. And all of those things stimulate the saliva production and the gastric motility and the stomach acid production and all these things that are going to help with digestion. So it's about noticing colors and smells and textures and flavors and the sounds of your food even. It's slowing down to savor every bite. It's appreciating the experience of eating. It's being aware of these things that stimulate saliva production in the mouth and acid production in the stomach. And it's fully focusing on the meal. It's paying attention to the experience of eating. And yes, I know this sounds trite. I know, I sound like your mother, right? Eat your food, chew your food properly. But wouldn't she be proud of you if you listened just for once? And at least, I'm not telling you to sit up straight.